but also our housing for the elderly. So, I mean, would there be any issue of putting older adult provision or older adult or homes for older persons in that particular objective, through you, Chair? Or is it a given? I mean, look, if it's a given, I'm happy with it. But if it's not, I believe it should be included, because the stats that I'll be getting sent in, I mean, if others want it, that'll really dictate to me where we can at least put or seek opportunities around Tamaki Makaurau, around increasing the stock on a needs basis. And so Chair, I think I'm speaking. So yeah, Chair, sorry, David, I'm just trying to get some guidance here whether putting that in there would make any difference, because it's been told to us verbally.
It's micromanaging.
If we have an objective around seeking opportunities to increase the stock, there's no issue.
Okay.
We're just reluctant to make commitments, but if seeking opportunities
and sorry, Dave, sorry, Street Chair, I'm not asking for a commitment.
I appreciate that.
Because it's been already said by you that yes, we will be seeking opportunities. I'm trying to clarify that, so then at least our community out there know it's just not only for social and affordable housing, but it also includes the opportunity for our older persons. I don't know what sort of word older persons like.
We're calling it older adults. We
Older
might
adults.
need to talk to
Mature.
Mature,
Some of them haven't
Sort of
matured,
like
that's
us.
the problem.
So, and Chair, look, just lastly, through you, sorry, Chair, look, look, just lastly, there's two more. It's just about the $38 million set aside, and the refurbishment is closer to 70 million. So, I mean, obviously there'll be a discussion that we'll be having around this table around that. It's been highlighted in the PowerPoint. But David, can you tell me, around the social housing context, it's got the income-related rent subsidy. And, you know, I mean, for us as a local authority to access those, or our community to access them, can you just explain what that bullet point says? It's got local authorities can only access through the entity that is operating at arm's length. So,
That's right.
so for us, whatever provider or providers, if it's a consortium, if they are sort of in partnership with us, the income-related rent subsidy can only be accessed through there by the tenants, and so where ours is just hands-off.
Yeah. So the deliberate policy intention of the government in order to grow the third sector is that, exactly as you say, that if you keep running it as a council operation, you can't get the subsidy. So that's one of the reasons for doing this.
Yep.
So it has to be at arm's length, and it's still, I guess, evolving exactly how that. There's various ways you can probably achieve that, which is what we need to be looking at. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Stewart.
Oh, thank you. Just, can you tell me who decides who actually moves into the housing for the elderly? Is there a checklist? And why I'm asking this question, I know in Manukau days we used to have people that would move in, and one of the big complaints was that there'd be people that would be just recently had arrived in New Zealand, and they'd be living with their family members and bring the grandparent over, and didn't work out, and then they'd move into one of these homes. And I'm just wondering whether there is a checklist, because you know, there are a lot of people that have perhaps lived all their life in New Zealand and paid taxes, and for some reason they've got onto hard times, and I just wonder if there is a criteria.
So you're talking about at the moment, Councillor Stewart?
Sorry?
You're talking about the present situation?
So how do we
decide?
decide?
Short answer, yes, absolutely, criteria. And at the moment, those criteria, we're working on the basis of the legacy criteria that existed in the previous local authorities. We're currently in the process of reviewing our eligibility criteria to have a consistent approach across the entire region. And there's certain criteria around income, around age, around residency, which apply.
Okay, and just another question, just having a look at your own, you're saying there's 150 units is that something like what's in Howick? The Howick Lions on Pekaringa Road built some housing for the elderly, and I believe people own them and then they have to sell them for the same price. Are they the ones that
I'm
you're
not sure.
talking
I'm
about?
not familiar with ones in Howick, but the model essentially was, as you say, people who had some resource, so they didn't qualify for social housing, could buy a house in usually there was a bunch of units. They bought them at a price that was sort of discounted to market on the basis when they either died or ready to move on, they have to be sold back effectively to the council at that discounted price.
Yeah, that's how the Howick ones, yeah.
Correct, yeah.
So
that's,
is that a model you're looking at?
well, we just have the big focus at the moment is what we're dealing with this morning. We're aware there's an issue with own your owns and what you should do. So that's a whole area we need to think about. What's the future of that? You know, a lot of those sites are probably underutilised as well. In some places there's less demand for them, so that's a whole piece of work that needs to be undertaken, but is a second priority.
Thank you, councillor. I've got member Taipere, Quacks, Cooper, Casey, and hopefully, member Taipere.
Kia ora, Madam Chair. I just want to sort of clarify some things, just because there's quite a use of singular and plural. When I look at executive summary, paragraph 4, it says stage 1 is securing a community housing partner. And then we use the term later on, community housing providers or provider or providers. Is it the intent to have a partner or partners?
So I thought we just changed that.
changed.
So-
Well, I'm asking the question. I didn't know we'd agreed to the recommendation.
No, we
Oh,
only
sorry,
changed the
we just, councillor Cooper raised it right at the beginning,
Oh,
and
I've
then
got a
when
few
she
questions,
came
so-
over. Yep, no,
Yeah.
I'm just wanting to make sure for our,
I don't really jumped on everybody when they said anything, eh?
no, councillor, sorry, member Taipere, all I'm saying from the chair is I had expected when we all nodded that the change would be made on the computer. I've just noted it's not, I expect that it will be, so I'm just clarifying for
So
you that
confirm
that change
confirm
should
what
be
change you're
made.
talking about?
Right, I do.
Confirm what change you're talking about, Madam Chair?
So this is the community housing, the partner, the providers and partners, so that we have an S
Well,
on
hang on.
both.
It says seeks community housing providers that will partner. And so my question again is, are we talking about a partner or partners?
Madam Chair, in the discussions that we've had, and I don't know whether councillors or members are aware, some of the housing providers, community housing providers in Auckland have got together in a formal consortium. So what we're saying is we're not precluding either a single entity, whether it's Accessible Properties or one of the Housing Foundation, or a consortium coming together. We're not precluding any option coming forward.
So can I say that, put it this way then, if 5 housing providers came to you and wanted to be partners in their singular right, is that an option available?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. So how many housing providers are there that you know of?
At least 11, 12.
Yeah, there's sort of 12 to 15 that have presence in Auckland.
Sure. So how many of those housing providers are Māori providers?
I think only Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei is the only registered community housing provider that is iwi based in Auckland at the moment.
Okay. So we go through a selection process and identifying providers, whether they singular or consortium based, or partnership with each other, and could enter into one or more partnerships. Correct?
Yeah.
So Councillor Wood had one and I had one, and I was a Māori housing provider. You would enter into a partnership. You might enter into a partnership with both of us in our own right.
We're not ruling anything out. Obviously, in practical terms, we don't want to end up with 15 different partners, but could easily see we might end up with 3. Yeah.
Okay. So, Madam Chair, just to follow on from where Leanne was earlier, seeking Roman numeral 10 in the draft objectives, because the resolution reads, approve the objectives for the Housing for Older Persons Partnership approach outlined in the agenda report. I note that Roman numeral 10 is not part of the agenda report. So is it a given that it's been included as part of the agenda report today, or does it need to be added to Resolution A to be specific?
What would your preference be, team? What makes it clearest to you, via recommendation or to simply add it to the list of principles, objectives under which we're operating?
No, it probably doesn't matter, Madam Chair. But add it,
We know it's there.
add it to add to the objectives is probably good.
So we'll add it directly
Roman
to
numeral
the
10, add those
objectives.
words
Yep.
and that
As
everyone knows that that's what they're voting for, Renee. Thank
Cool.
you.
Yeah, all right. Councillor Quacks?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, and I guess I might be the last questioner, and I guess there's an advantage in that, in the fact that most of my questions have already been answered. So, it just all I really want to say, rather than ask questions which have already been answered, is to say congratulations on this very good report and the work that's gone into it, because the long-term strategy around this appears to be very good, and I must say, Madam Chair, that I'm fully supportive of the strategy and of the recommendations, so thank you for that.
Okay, Councillor Cooper?
Thank you. I would clarify why I asked to have a plural for housing providers, because I think that if we look at the areas we're looking at, some may be, we may move them around, etc. But one of the reasons we want to move over to registered community housing providers is because we think they can do a better job of this, as well as accessing the IRRS. And that may mean that, say for example, a provider that understands people in the south, that does that wraparound stuff, or the west or the north, might be better placed. I don't know, but I think that's what we're trying to do. There's several objectives to this. One is to make sure we can have really good wraparound landlord services for our vulnerable older people. The other one is, as Councillor Filipaina mentioned, we have a shortfall for refurbishment, which we cannot meet. And that's one of the other reasons why we want to partner with people who can work with us on that and try to get a cost-neutral advantage out of this to meet the expectations of parts of our community who don't want to fund other people's houses, but also meet the expectation of the people that are quite happy to do that. So I think this is a good balance. So there's that. The other question here is around when we go into redeveloping, can we actually guarantee, if we change that objective 1, which we talked, and I don't, that's sort of question, I don't know, are we changing objective 1, Councillor Filipaina, which is maintain at least the current level, and I would have thought across the region rather than at individual places. Are we changing that? I was unclear because we haven't got it in front of us, because I wouldn't be prepared to have it changed to increase, because we've got at least maintain, which already gives us that option. And I don't want us to be promising something that we can't deliver that's still cost neutral.
Yeah, so I think...
And I don't know whether you can guarantee that by when you put that in there, and I don't think
I
that's...
just want to make sure we're not talking at cross purposes. So we're talking on page 43, we're talking about 5, Roman numeral 5.
35.1, which is our objectives.
Yep.
We've already added a number 10, which I'm comfortable with as one of the seconder.
So I'll just get David and the team to clarify. So we've gone as far as seek opportunities, and the point that Councillor Filipaina was making was to make sure that in the seek opportunities, it's in no way promising, but it says we will try and clarify through the opportunities that we're looking at with our housing stock to enable to retain the level of service provision and to grow the community housing sector. And what Councillor Filipaina was saying is, within that community housing sector, should we agree that that may well be older adult housing, but this is only as far as to seek opportunities.
Yeah. Sorry, which number were you talking about now?
Sorry, I'm on page 43.
Yes, I've got
Roman
that.
numeral 5.
Oh, sorry, I was talking about 1 because...
Yeah, but it's easier. Councillor Filipaina was talking about, this is the draft objectives. So page 43,
We've already got seek, yes, so we're
Roman
saying that
numeral
you'll have,
5.
that will
So
cover
we're saying
it.
seek opportunity.
Good. That's already there.
And well, that's why I asked. Yeah.
Yep.
That's why the question was asked and it was clear and it was confirmed.
Yep. But the decision comes back to us.
Thank you.
If the seek opportunity delivers up, yes, but you have to put in 25 million, then the councillors may well go, maybe not so much, we'll keep it to the number we've got. But we need to be able to have that conversation with our consortia and partners about whether that may be.
I'm clear, Madam Chair, and I'm very happy that all the details come back to us. We don't need to,
We're
I'm happy
talking
that we
about
don't have
lots
to
of
do
different
details here.
Vs, Xs and IIIs.
The other point, just to reassure Councillor Cooper and others, Madam Chair, is that one of the objectives is clear that we are going to operate within the current LTP framework.
Yes, thank you.
So that's clearly there to provide that level of certainty.
Absolutely. Happy? Thank you, Madam Chair.
So last couple of questions, another one from councillor Casey and
haven't got a
Clow,
question,
and
I'd like
then
to speak.
speaking to the recommendation. Okay, so councillor Clow, is it a question or a speaking to?
Speaking to.
Okay, councillor Casey.
I'm not going to put up an amendment asking for a delay, but I am going to vote against it, and I'd just like to share my concerns about the proposal today. And it's about the timing of it. I think the first concern is that ACPL is about to morph into a new entity called Auckland Development, and we're in the process of creating a new SOI with some new targets. And I'm not quite sure how this project, this portfolio fits into that, because on one of our pages it says that, it's on our page 42, redevelopment of the portfolio will offer ACPL significant opportunities to deliver on actions identified in the Housing Action Plan, as well as SOI objectives associated with housing, affordability, intensification and town centre generation. That's quite a wide remit, and one of the objectives, of course, is commercial return. And I know I've heard from Graham today that it's all going to be ploughed back in, but it's not being ploughed back in to build more houses to meet need of the older generation. It's being ploughed back in to build affordable houses, but your definition of affordable is 500,000 upwards. And my concern has always been that there's a bottom end of the market that need a step into housing, and it's not being met by this.
So, Councillor, just to be clear on that, the ratepayers don't fund affordable housing at the moment.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, I'm actually speaking right now.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were asking.
I wasn't asking a question, I was
clarification.
speaking to the motion and why I have concerns about it. I don't actually need to engage in debate with David on this. We will agree to differ.
All good.
Okay, so that was, my first one is about ACPL about to morph into Auckland Development, and that process needs time to bed in to see what Auckland Development can do and whether it's what we want. We need to look at that carefully over the next year, 2 years. So that's the first issue. The second issue is just the general state of disarray with social housing in New Zealand. The government can't find help, and it wants to hawk off its holdings at the moment. The Salvation Army took it and then said, no, we can't do this. So for Auckland Council now to say, well, we think we can do better than the government, it's kind of, it just strikes me as not the right time, you know, not right now, not when there is so much uncertainty among the low-income owners, the low-income earners in this country who are in state housing or in our council houses. And we've got 1,412 of them. There is no commitment to building more housing. There's no commitment. I don't like it being down there at number 4F/5. That's what we should be doing. If there's 300 people on our waiting list and we've got a bell curve coming of older people, what are we doing to meet their needs as a council? What are we doing? No commitment to older people housing in terms of growing it. Not just, Councillor Philippina, not just down there at some later stage. It should be upfront, a commitment. We either think it's a good thing or we don't. So that's my next concern. There's been no commitment at all said today or in writing that we will retain ownership. And as far as I'm concerned, we must retain ownership.
Absolutely.
We are the owner of a fine stock of housing. It's been an issue in the past, and I want to see that commitment up front. And so when I see that commitment in writing, I will support the processes that go with it.